let's keep playing the buried bootay. I'll bet we can find out some background on Colonel Blue here, at the library. A little research into the Civil War might help us decipher the map. Oh, there's lots of things to do here. Let's speak to Mrs. Useful Garcia. Colonel Blue, Beau Blue. He's quite a famous figure here. You might try checking some of our local history books to get the details on his story. I vaguely remember that there was some talk of buried treasure. Have you spoken to Mr. Cone? At least Cone? Oh, whatever. The owner of Sweet Treats. He's a real Civil War buff. He and his friends take part of the Civil War reenactments every year. They research the time period battles very carefully and create authentic costumes and reenact the strategies used by the Civil War generals. I'm sure he'd love to help you with his investigation. Oh dear. I say oh dear because potentially that might mean that it's all just a prank being played by that man. But hopefully it's not, and poor little Miss Arnold is not going to get her heart broken. Let us read some books. A book on local history has a chapter on Colonel Beau Blue. Oh, he's a very attractive man. Colonel Beau Blue was a Confederate Army soldier during the Civil War. When the war ended and the South had lost, Colonel Blue fled with a strongbox containing some of the golds the consolers of the defeated Confederate forces. Determined not to let the Yankees get a hold of the money, Colonel Blue stayed on the run, just one step ahead of the Union forces. In an effort to elude them, he veered north and entered the peaceful town of Richview. Knowing that the end was near, Blue buried the strongbox somewhere in Richview. When his pursuers at last caught up with him, he drew his gun and fired, and was killed in the battle that followed. His treasure was never found. Residents of Richview had searched for the treasure ever since. While they search, they argue about the man named Beau Blue. Was he a noble Southern officer protecting the Confederate treasure, or was he a thief stealing money he was supposed to guard? We will probably never know, but we may soon. In the reference section, an American history book has a chapter on the Civil War. The Civil War began after the succession, withdrawals from the United States, of the Southern states. They succeeded for a complicated set of reasons, including the desire to continue the African Americans as slaves. The Southern states formed the Confederate of States of America and named Jefferson Davis as president. I think that name should have been backwards. He should have just been called David Jefferson or something like that. But in any case, that's just my opinion. The United States refused to allow the South to succeed, and a bloody 4-year war began on April 12th, 1861. The war ended on April 9th, 1865, when General Lee surrendered at I have never seen that word ever before. The Americans amongst us probably have, but I have not. The Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. A book on United States presidents has a chapter on President Andrew Jackson. President Andrew Jackson, 1767 to 1845, was a great general in the War of 1812. He was elected president in 1828. He was considered the president of the common people. Because of his backwoods Carolina origins, he was nicknamed Old Hickory. Okay, that was really helpful. I don't really think so, but oh well. Alright, let's check out Buccaneer's Beach. Oh, dear Lord. Some man has died in the water and everyone's just ignoring him. He's not moving. Buccaneer Beach is a great place to go swimming. I bet these people have no idea that a treasure might be buried nearby. So yeah, this guy looks like he's died, and this guy's getting a back rub from his girlfriend, and I have no idea what this man is doing. It could be something very suspicious, but none of these people are moving except for this reflection of the boat. And that's Paul Shred from memory. Hey, there he is. Yo, Sherlock Holmes types. What's happening? Out here to catch some waves? Not today, Steve. We're on a case. Do you know anything about that tree up there? Lone tree? Yeah. That's like totally ancient landmark. That old hickory tree has been there for centuries. My grandfather proposed to my grandma there. I go up there to read sometimes, you know. It's got an excellent view. I heard a legend that it was the first tree planted by the settlers who founded Ridgeview in the early 1800s. Wow. I did not know that you read. Lone Tree is a weathered old tree that sits on top of the cliff overlooking Buccaneer Beach. Under the tree is a wooden bench that faces the water. There are dozens of initials, names, and dates carved into the bench. Okay, because that was helpful. Let's go to Duffy's farm. Alright. What's good old Farmer Duffy got to say? Mr. Duffy's had bad luck with his crops in the last few years. If the treasure's buried here, maybe he'll be able to use some of that money to help fix up his farm. Or, you know, to quit the farm entirely. But oh well. I did a little research on the area before I bought this farm 10 years ago. There was a mining company here back in the 1800s. They dug shafts deep into the earth looking for silver. Mining was really a big industry in this part of the country in those days. When the silver ran out, they sealed up the caverns so that the people wouldn't mess around and get hurt. Okay, what's this crack in the ground? The mine shaft that used to be called Harrison Hole is sealed with a strong gate. The gate is securely locked. Okay, that's good. An ancient stone wall cuts across the field near the cave door. The wall looks like it may have been made many, many years ago. Moss is growing between some of the rocks and the wall has crumbled away in places. Okay. That was helpful. Let's go to sweet treats. Sweet treats. Does this mailman ever deliver mail, or does he just come here and sit at the ice cream store the entire day? Mr. Cone? At least that's what it reads to me, but oh well. Is owner of Sweet Treats. We're lucky to catch him while he's in the shop, because, you know, he doesn't actually work here. I studied the Civil War in great detail. It's a hobby of mine, actually. My wife says it's an obsession. Each year I join up with a group that reenacts some of the famous battles like Gettysburg or Shiloh. We use replicas of old guns and other weapons used by soldiers in those days and wear costumes that look exactly like the uniforms of Union and Confederacy. We honor the soldiers from that war, but it was a terrible waste of life. Almost as many Americans died in the Civil War as every other war this country has ever fought, combined. Oh, let's have a look at this. The sign that hangs above the Sweet Streets counter says Liberty Tavern. Ah, so this is where Liberty Tavern was. The Liberty Tavern sign appears to be very old. It's made of oak wood, riddled with termite holes and cracked with age. Ooh, I'm reading someone's mail. Sorry, I just love looking at that picture of him. Mr. Carl has always been interested in history. In fact, I think he bought this site as the location for his ice cream parlor because it used to be a famous tavern. That's right. I started Sweet Treats on the site of the old Liberty Tavern. I liked the idea of owning a store on a famous landmark. I liked the idea of knocking it down and putting something else there. In the 1800s, the Liberty Tavern was a favorite drinking and socializing spot, but when alcohol was banned during Prohibition in 1912, the tavern went out of business. I've got the old tavern sign right here above the counter for luck. It's an antique. 'Cause, yeah. Well, only one more place to go. And we're running out of time, so when we get back, we will come and go to Riverside Park. Ta-ra! See you guys later.